easy to sit down. It's like fills your soul to sit down and talk with people.
Welcome to Make and Decorate, a podcast for makers who love to sew, quilt, and decorate. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 23. And we've entered another new month of 2019. Happy March. By the time this episode publishes on March 14th, we will be, 3 days into daylight savings time, which means an extra hour of sunlight. Yes, I am so happy and excited. Even though we've got some Arctic weather going on here still. The other day we had the coldest temperatures in Chicago in March for 17 years. So it hasn't been this cold for 17 years. But hey, as long as the sun's out, and it really needs to, wrap it up here, wrap up winter, because spring is only in another week. So it needs to not be like last year, because last year we didn't have a spring. It was winter all spring long. So anyway, enough about the weather. All right. Last time I mentioned that there was a problem with my comments, and I went and researched and fixed it. So comments are working. You can place a comment, and you don't have to sign your life away to place a comment. So I've loosened up the restrictions, and hopefully that will work. We'll see how it goes. It's just if spammers and things start coming in, then I'll probably have to turn it back to where it was, where you do have to identify yourself and not be anonymous. So anyway, but I got a couple of great comments in the meantime. So thank you so much. In fact, there was a comment that someone left a month ago, and I didn't even see it until last week. So that was from Melissa. Thank you so much, Melissa. I saw your comment and I replied. So if you go back, or hopefully it notifies you, because I don't even know that. Gosh, I hope that. Well, if you give your email, though, I think you have an option to say you want to be notified on further comments on that thread. But if you don't, give your information, then I think there's no way that it can kind of notify you back if you got a response. So anyway, enough of that dry technical stuff. And then after I fixed the comments, I posted a comment saying that it was fixed and that you guys could all leave comments there now. And I got another comment from Cindy, and this was from last week's episode with Mr. Domestic, and it was so nice, and I replied to you, Cindy, so be sure to go check that out again. But you really made my day with that comment, and I just really appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate anyone taking the time to write a comment, send me an email, or however you want to communicate. So thanks very much, both you guys. And I am recording. Usually I record these intro segments very close to the day I publish, because I want them to be pretty timely with the day that you listen to them. However, I'm doing this a week ahead of time because my design job has gotten pretty busy, and we just took on a large project, and we're in the preliminary stages, and it is a very nice project. It is, super high end, of course, because that is the nature of this business that I freelance for. But this new client could not be nicer. She is so just pleasant to work with, and you don't always get that in the high-end world. But what's very is that she is a self-made woman, meaning that she is spending her own money on this renovation, and it's just really a breath of fresh air. She's just it's I don't know. It's hard to describe, but it's just she wasn't raised with a silver spoon in her mouth, and she's worked very hard, and now she gets to spend her hard-earned money on creating a super beautiful home. And then I get to live vicariously through that. Because as opposed to what many people think, they think that all decorators and designers live in these like showroom type homes, and that is the farthest thing from the truth. So unless you are, you know, designer from that upper echelon, you do not make the same money that your clients make. And therefore, I will not be purchasing a $10,000 sofa. Here is the secret, though. Some of the homes that you see, maybe even on TV, of decorators, and you might get a glimpse into their house or home, they know how to put things together. They know how to create a high-end look with low-end product, or mix them together to get that really gorgeous look and feel of, you know, what you would think would be a total luxury high-end home. So anybody really can accomplish that. It's just the know-how and knowing where to put your dollars for quality and where you don't have to, and you can save money on other areas and still have it all mixed together and look gorgeous. All right, so just a quick look at things that are going on around here before we get into our conversation with Kristin Rauch. I did post 2 YouTube videos from QuiltCon. So a couple of my friends were at QuiltCon in Nashville, Tennessee, and they video Skyped with me, and I put together a couple of videos from that just to be able to give us a glimpse of some of the quilts that were submitted and some of the award-winning quilts at QuiltCon. It was really cool. I mean, I just haven't been to QuiltCon yet, and I'm hoping next year will be the year I get to go. We'll see. But the quilts in there were stunning, and I only even saw them through video, and I know that if I were there in person, it would just be even that much more spectacular. But hey, we'll take what we can get, right? They still were absolutely gorgeous, and I really thank my friends Jen and Lynette for helping me out with that. So go check out those videos on my YouTube channel called Stephanie Socha, which is my name. And I started to talk a little bit about the Alison Glass Trinket. They're calling it an SAL, which is a sew-along, but it's sewing a quilt top, the Trinket quilt top. So I got my fabrics. This is the very first time that I've ordered a quilt kit, which has the fabrics pre-picked out, and they send you the pattern as well, just for the quilt top. The backings usually are not included, or the bindings in quilt kits. So I'm such a control freak that I want to pick out my own fabrics and my own design. So this time I kind of relinquished it, but that is because I saw a beautifully curated quilt kit on Color Girl Fabrics, her website. And this is what I really love. She put together a kit that had fabrics from several different designers, and they go together really beautifully. I like it. It's really cool, and it's, you know, exactly how there was an Essex linen in there, so that's how I would have, you know, added some interest into the fabric mix. And there were a couple of Alison Glass, that ribbed texture. I think it was hers. It's either hers or Anna Maria Horner, but it didn't say in the selvage, but I'm guessing it's Alison Glass's. Really pretty. And there was some Sharon Holland in there. There's a couple fabrics from Andover's Juicy Juice line. Oh my gosh, just a lovely package. So I'm really so pleased with it. And It starts up. Actually, it already started. When you guys listen to this, I think it officially starts on the 10th of March. So let's see. I have yet to finish a quilt along that I've ever started. So there's an alternate pattern option on this quilt along, and I think that I'll be able to finish it because the actual quilt pattern requires, I think it's like 80 of those foundation paper pieced blocks. And that means you're making the quilt along itself does one quilt block, 1 4-inch quilt block every weekday times 8 weeks, which equals 40. So then I would have to do that all over again to make that quilt with all those blocks. However, the alternate layout, which really to me looks interesting because there's a lot more background and negative space around the blocks, and there's only about 40 blocks, which is what we make in the quilt along. So let's hope that goes well. You can check out, I posted my fabrics on Instagram, but if you're not on Instagram, I'm going to put a picture on my show notes page so you can see what they are. All right, so my guest this week is Kristin Rauch of Woolly Petals. And Kristin, I know personally. She lives in my area. In the Chicagoland area, and we met at a sewing meetup and have been friends ever since. So Kristin has an Etsy shop with handmade goods and patterns. She has also started to design patterns. She's released a couple of quilt patterns, really cute. The first one are like these two little what are they called? Like sea otters. So cute. Holding hands with a little heart. And the other one is really pretty, called Floored. And it's a very simple, easy to do pattern, which is pretty awesome if you want to, get a quilt turned around in a faster time frame. And she has a blog and website, and she's so multi-talented. She just does it all. She's even made a dollhouse. So we talk about all this in our conversation. So let's just head on over there and... hold on. I just got some new information. Kristin has a special promo code for all the listeners. There will be 20% off her Etsy shop. And listen to the end, and I will give you that code. And you'll have to go to my show notes page to click on the link that will get you to her Etsy shop with that 20% off. Woohoo! Thank you so much, Kristin. All right, here is my conversation with Kristin Rauch of Woolly Petals. Hi, Kristin. Welcome to my podcast, Make and Decorate. I'm so happy you're here.
Hi, Stephanie. I'm so excited to be here.
So, Kristin, I met you at a local, kind of like a sewing get-together, the Chicagoland. I don't know. It's kind of, I found it on Facebook, this group.
Yeah.
And then there's a person that kind of organizes little sewing get-togethers for people in our area. And that's where I met you for the first time.
Yeah, that was super fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fun. And that's actually where, because I don't know, otherwise I just stay in my little, domain here and don't really get out to meet so many people who sew or quilt and like the things that I do. So those are kind of fun when I can get out and do it.
It is a lot of fun to get together in person with people and chat and talk and then just like see what everybody's working on too.
Right.
It's a lot of fun. We need to do one of those again.
We do. I know. I haven't been to one in a long time, but they've kind of, I think it's hard for them to be coordinated because you have to find a place and that doesn't cost $1 million and
exactly.
Maybe
Maybe we'll do one at my house soon.
Oh, yay. That would be awesome. So
That would
yeah,
be fun.
that it's a lot of fun. So then, and when we met, we were talking, and you have a background just like me in interior design, which is really fun. So we'll get to that later on in the conversation
Okay.
because my podcast is Make and Decorate. So we'll talk
Yes.
about making and decorating. But tell me about just where it all began for you as far as like any of your creativity growing up or just like how that spark started and led you to what you're doing now.
Okay. My parents are both very creative. My mom taught me to sew when I was, like 5 or 6,
Oh, that's
maybe.
awesome.
Yeah, she's sewn my whole life, since she was in like junior high. My dad is an excellent artist. So I'm able to draw and like have those skills too. Um, but yeah, from an early age, we were always creative in my home. And I probably knew when I was 10 or 12 years old that I wanted to be an interior designer. I was like, Mom, what is something I can do where I can just rearrange furniture and decorate? And so it kind of stemmed from there. So I always knew I wanted to go to college for interior design. And so I did go to college and I worked at a little place in Wheaton, Illinois. It's no longer there. It was called the Textile Studio. And that kind of got me into the business. We did custom drapery there and sold home decor fabrics. And from there, I started my own little business and decorated people's houses, did a lot of custom drapery, a lot of just more like um, the decorating aspect after, even though in school I learned also like interior
Me
architecture and
too.
floor plans, and that was so much fun. I loved
Real?
that part of
Oh
it.
no, I did not like
Oh,
reflected ceiling plans.
oh no, oh goodness, I loved that part of it.
For
But
those of you, reflected ceiling plans are like lighting plans, and it's sort of like it's reflected, so it's you thinking a little bit reverse. But I liked
yeah,
floor plans. I love
yeah,
space planning, but drawing like and I love drawing the details too. Like the
yes,
detail of something where you open up like if you were to cut down the middle of it. Those were fun
yes.
too, but I don't know why I just like rebelled against lighting plans.
That's
But go ahead,
funny.
I
Oh my
interrupted.
goodness.
Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. So yeah, I have an associate's degree in interior design, and I had my own little decorating business, which I kind of stopped when my first son was born. He's 8 now, just because my husband and my plan was always for me to stay home with the kids and then just do little things. But through all of that, I sewed. In high school, I sewed like stuffed animals, doll clothes. In college and in my design business, I sewed a lot of like custom draperies and pillows and the fabric elements of a home. And then once I'm trying to think when it was Dana from Old Red Barn. Do you know who that is? Dana Bolliard. She
No.
there was an online quilt along on Flickr,
Oh.
and this had to be like 10 or 11 years ago. And I stumbled across it somehow, and I was like, I'm going to join this. I'm going to make a quilt. And I made a quilt in like 7 weeks. Every week they had the next step. And from there, it was just like quilting. I love sewing, quilting, and it kind of spiraled.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, so that's how I started quilting. I think I made a couple tiny little baby quilts when I was little, or doll quilts, but like that was my first big, almost twin size quilt. And of course, I like to make pouches and kids' toys. I sew my own clothes, but quilting is just, a big love of mine.
Yes, me too. And you do. You sew everything. And I have an interest like that too. But you actually, I mean, you have a business with it too. You have an Etsy shop, and those little pouches are so adorable. The like little bear pouches, and the detail you put in there too. I think you mix a little bit of hand sewing on their faces.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love that. I love to do that kind of stuff too, and I think that just adds so much to it when you add those little customized details on
Yes,
there.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And what I was going to tell you that I didn't know. Oh, so you sewed window like draperies too as well,
Hmm.
right?
Oh yes. Swags,
What?
like full on draperies with lining, yeah, cornices, headboards. I did a lot of other
And you
stuff
did that
besides
for
just
your customers?
I did.
Oh, wow.
I had some workrooms who worked for me also, but if I was slow and it was a job that I felt like I could tackle, I did it because I made more money that way.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
when I was busier, I sent it out to workrooms and
Uh-huh.
such, who did an excellent job too. But
Yeah.
it was fun. It was challenging at times, but it really kind of stretched me and made me realize that I can kind of do anything I want if I just sit down and like work on it.
True. Yeah. But that's, I mean, I give you huge kudos for that because I always, if for design clients, I would always use a workroom because I was too nervous, even though I sewed. And I know I've made Roman shades for my own house,
Yeah.
and shower curtains and stuff, but just didn't have that like confidence to make it for someone else who's, I don't know. I think too, just in that world of where I just had experiences where people nitpick every little thing, and I just don't want that. I
Oh,
just didn't
yes.
want that.
Oh, yes. Now, I mean, by the end of my design business, when my son was born, I was kind of done.
Yeah,
It's the custom design world is
it
rough.
is.
And yeah, you get like 10 great clients and then one like really particular client, and it
Mm-hmm.
just kind of
It
ruins the 10
does.
great clients. It's hard. It's
Yeah,
hard.
I agree. You understand. Okay. I just had to find out about that because I'm like, I cannot believe that you actually sewed, the swags and everything like that. That's
Yes, I should
cool.
share some pictures if I could find them.
That's
There's some
awesome.
crazy stuff I did.
But all of that really kind of just sort of forms like your path and evolves your skills and creativity to where you are today, and that even what you're doing today is still going to evolve into whatever comes next. And I love that you embrace that. And I don't know, it's refreshing. I love seeing everything that you make, and now you're actually selling your own quilt patterns, which are so cute. I love
Yes.
it. So
Thank you.
you have two out, and you're working on a third one, right? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, my first one is called Don't Let Go, and it's two sea otters. And my more popular one is called Floored, and it's actually was based off of tile floor pattern I saw somewhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, those I don't know. I've ever since I started making quilts, more so than not, I will just kind of sketch up a design or take something I've seen and sketch it out because my brain works better that
Me
way.
too. Mm-hmm.
Um, as opposed to following someone else's pattern, which I can do, but I'm such a visual person
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes getting the words and what they're saying doesn't work for me. So I just kind of, people have been like, oh my gosh, you should make your patterns, you
Mm-hmm.
should sell them. And I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. And then I just did, and it's been fun. And it's like a whole new world of figuring out Photoshop and EQ8 and all of that stuff to get it all in the right format. But it's been an adventure. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like a next step for me because I kind of want to venture into that part of it too with, some quilt patterns and home deck and stuff like that. But again, it's just like I have EQ8 and I kind of
Okay.
muddle through it, but there's not a ton of education out there for it. They do have, classes, but they're like, on the East Coast or wherever. And so
Yeah.
I wish that they would do even like online courses. They do have some, but I mean, I'm talking about like, really like nuts and bolts of how to use it, the
Yes, or be able
program.
to, for like Photoshop, I can Google how to do this
Right.
and I can get like a quick synopsis. And I don't think there's anything like that for EQ8,
No,
which would be really
it
nice.
would.
And it's tricky. Like I think knowing Photoshop for me has really helped go into EQ8, but it's just been a learning curve, just like playing
Yeah.
around, figuring out different stuff. There's no rhyme or reason for how
Hmm.
I learn it. I just kind of want to do something and try different things until I get there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know. I've done only a couple things because I just upgraded to EQ8. I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, and it's different from 7.
Yes, I had 7
Yeah,
also, and
but
I
I kind of
upgraded.
like it better because it's a little bit more visual and easier to navigate a little
I,
bit. You just have to learn the quirks.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, after like getting past oh, this is different.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I think it definitely was an improvement. So it's definitely worth
Yeah.
upgrading.
Oh, good. And then because that's the other thing too, I wasn't sure on. Can you design an EQ8 and then actually like publish and sell your patterns from there in an electronic format, or do I have to actually do that from like an Adobe product? Like,
I think you can. I did just figure out there is once you design your quilt top, um, because I like to take like the line drawing of my quilt top and then I put it in Photoshop and do some tweaks for my patterns, like adding words and
mhm.
stuff. But at some point I was like messing around and then I realized if you color in your quilt top with the different fabrics being like if you have one fabric you put one color in the same place as those fabrics and then it spits out all the yardage information which I had never done
Yes.
before and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." So I don't know how if there's a way to directly publish your pattern
Oh,
on
okay.
EQ or if you can add your black to like their black library and then it's available to a wider array. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, because that's my favorite part about that program is that when you design it, you can get yardage amounts
Yeah,
for the fabrics that you need.
that was pretty life changing for me. I'm like, oh, I didn't know. I've just been, doing my math on my on my paper,
That's
and
awesome.
yes, that's really
Cool.
great.
All right. Well, that's really great. I mean, and you now that I didn't know what your sewing and creative background was, but now that you say like, oh, you've been doing this since 5 years old, it really now makes sense to me because it just things seem to just come natural to you. You don't try too hard, and you're just like, well, and I mean that in a good way. Like, I feel like what I see from you is fresh and original. It's
Well,
without
thank you.
being like oh, I've certain trends go on the bandwagon, and
Yeah,
so and what draws me to your work is just that I love it so fresh and just I don't know, it's new and original and I like it, and like your patterns too. I think that florid quilt pattern is gorgeous, and but it's also something that it's not going to take 6 months to make. It's still kind of like done with simple shapes put together, but it makes this beautiful design. So I think
thank
that's what
you.
draws people into it. I think that's kind of
Yeah,
what I've read like from some people's comments too. It's just like it's doable. They can do it.
that's really awesome to hear. I really love that feedback. I love seeing like people hashtag on social
Uh
media.
huh.
I love seeing everybody's projects, and it's so wonderful to hear because it's a big block pattern, which I
Mm-hmm.
think people love because you can showcase beautiful big fabrics. Like the largest piece that you cut is a 12.5 inch square.
Yeah.
So it really showcases big prints well, and there's so many ways to do it. I've done it in an ombre effect from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I just did a completely scrappy one. You can do it with just a set amount of fabrics. But yeah, it's a really fun pattern, I think, and I really appreciate you saying, that you really like you feel my style is fresh because
It is.
I I don't people ask me all the time like how do you pick stuff out and how do you know what to use and I'm like I don't know, it's just kind of like an internal feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do something and then it's not quite right and I'll tweak it and then it gets to that point where it's like what I envision and I don't know, it's just like something in me is like naturally feels and does what I do,
Right.
which is fun.
Yeah, you have the eye for it, and just the yeah, it's hard for me to describe, but just even like parlaying it to interior design, you can go to school and learn all the rules and everything, and like be a robot or crap designer, but it's true,
Yes.
but the very best designers have that innate sort of creativity that leads them to just like not follow. I mean, you need to follow the rules for scale and proportion, but just like, what if I put this with that? Or let me, see what really like speaks to me or moves me or whatever. And then you go with it. And you don't
Yes.
care if it's like not like the coral color of this year.
Right. Yes. You just kind of, yeah, no. On the flip side, although I tell people sometimes this, I'm like, on the flip side, it is kind of a curse at the same time because when I'm in a space or see something and it's not quite right, it just bugs me. I mean, I would never say that to the people who do it, but
I
it's
hear
like
you. Yeah.
your eye is just too finely honed or something.
Trained.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
The trained
Yes.
eye. I
Yeah.
know. I
So,
know.
oh, yeah.
Yep. Me too. But well, but that's what kind of gives you a really good foundation and makes what you do fun. It's kind of interesting because I didn't know I wanted to be in interior design until after I graduated from college and something else.
Oh,
and
okay.
then and then I was in a technology field, and so, but like, at that time Martha Stewart and HGTV really had real decorating shows on, and I just found myself always in Architectural Digest and all that stuff. And then
Yeah.
so that's when I just really kind of went for it, and I loved design school like you did too. Just
That's good.
fed
That's good.
on
I feel
it.
like if you have a passion and you can, then that should be what your career is because otherwise it's not fun.
It's
Life
true.
should be fun.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So with the quilting, what you've got another quilt that you've been working on, and it's kind of fun watching your progress because you sort of like do stories on Instagram and post your process, which is fun. So is it a baby quilt, or are you just making it available in a baby quilt size as well as a
It
bigger
will
size?
be it will be multiple sizes. This is the first one that will be in a range of sizes from baby up to
Oh,
queen.
cool.
I didn't quite go to king because I feel like that's not as many people make kings. And hey, if you really want it, I will make a king for you, but the pattern will be up to a queen. But it's elongated like pluses and it's strip piece. So like instead of making a block and then sewing the blocks together, it's kind of sewing the quilt in columns from
Cool.
top to bottom or bottom to top and then sewing those columns together. So it's been kind of fun. I've been just kind of playing around with different fabric combinations. And now I'm in the throes of figuring out all the yardages for all the different quilt sizes and all the different fabric
Yeah, it's a
combinations.
lot of work, especially when you're doing so
It
many
is.
sizes.
Yeah, it is. And some of those tasks seem so daunting that I just procrastinate and then it takes even longer. Where if I just sit down and by the time I get to it, I just sit down and I'm like, oh, this wasn't as bad as I thought.
That's
But
so me.
yes, but it will be. It's either going to be called Moonrise or Crossover. I haven't quite
Oh,
decided.
cool.
Um, so to be decided,
Uh-huh.
but I'm shooting for a release date of March 1st. So
Oh, all right. Very good. That's around the corner.
yeah, so soon,
Yay.
hopefully. Fingers crossed. Wish me luck.
Very nice. And then do you make all of the sizes of the quilts that you design, or do you have people that help you, like, test it out, or?
I have testers. The past couple quilts, I've asked close friends who are sewers first, and then open it up, and then I'll get a lot of DMs, and then I look at the people's, Instagram profile or their blog to see if their style fits mine and like how quickly they get through projects. Because usually there's a timeline, like 2 weeks to get a quilt top made. It would be awesome if you quilted and finished the quilt, but quilt top, and then I can use those pictures for promoting the
Mm-hmm.
the pattern also. But yeah, I don't make all the sizes. I have made a throw size in this when I first designed it
Mm-hmm.
and a baby quilt, and I'm going to be making a twin size for my son's bed to test one of the bigger
Oh, cool.
sizes. But
All right.
usually I'll try to get somebody to make every size of
Uh-huh.
the pattern.
Yeah.
So hopefully I have 4 to 5 testers.
Yeah, that's nice. It's really cool. Because even like, jump hopping over to the clothing world, when I talked with Jessica Pierce, she's developed like a ton of testers because she does all the sizes in clothing. And so,
Yeah.
and what's so great about her website is she has pictures of every size. It's so awesome. So it's
Yes.
cool that you have every size made too. I think it's
Yes.
visually, it's important for people to see. But I need that floored quilt in my life. I haven't gotten it yet, but I need to get it because I love it. Uh, okay, so that's what you're working on now, is your quilt pattern, and I want to talk about your this beautiful dollhouse that you've been working on for a while, and you actually built this dollhouse, didn't you? I thought I saw that. I was following you.
Yes,
Yeah.
I built it from a kit, but it came
Oh,
in
okay.
flat pieces.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, yep. You had to glue it all together. And during the process, doing all the research, there's such a big difference between like a community of people who do dollhouses that just kind of slap them together and go, or it's called heirloom quality.
Oh.
So now my husband teases me because it's like, making sure that you have like no extra glue residue when after you do your first coat of paint, you like sand it and then do your second coat of paint to get a better finish.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a step above. So I've been trying to go that route because I would like this dollhouse to last for my daughter or my grandchildren. I had a dollhouse when I was a girl and I got passed down to like my niece and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it so much.
Mm-hmm.
And the miniature world, like kids just love it. They love everything in miniature. And it's just so fun to see my kids, like even my son, like he'll bring in his like little Lego bulldozers and put him in and he'll like arrange stuff in the dollhouse. It's just it's been so fun for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the miniature world is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever look at miniature accounts on Instagram, you're like, is that a real room or is that a miniature room? Like you get to the point where you can't even tell anymore because
Right.
they're just so
I
incredible.
said that about one of your posts because I'm like, the
Thank
way you
you.
took the photo, I could not tell the scale, and it looked like a real bedroom. And then when I
That's high
re-looked at it
praise.
again, I'm like, oh, okay, the fabric on the bed sort of gives it away a little bit because the
Yes.
scale of the fabric was a little big, but still, you have to take a double take. It looks so real. You have wallpaper on the walls, you have custom bedding.
Yes, it's so much fun. And then like the farther you get into it, the more like it's just kind of like a rabbit hole.
I love seeing it. I really enjoy it. Your dollhouse definitely is going to be heirloom quality because of all the details that you have paid attention to. And I mean, just like I said, like with the wallpaper and all of the, fabrics, and in the kitchen has all of the appliances. Your daughter must be like the happiest girl in the world.
Thank you. We have fun together.
Yeah,
It's
that's you know
yeah.
what, and that brings up another thing of like an creative um thing, the activity that you can do with your kids, and it's in real life. It's textile, and versus like just too much on the technology. Sort of like with
Yes.
kids. I just feel like it's harder today. And I feel like, I feel like an old person when I'm like, back in my day, we actually played. We had our, be imaginative and, play with actual things and people and kids.
Yes, oh, I hear you. And it's hard. They want to be on like watching shows or watch videos on YouTube all day long.
Hmm.
We limit it, and that has made a big difference. And they both are really into drawing, crafts. My son's really into Legos.
Hmm.
Um, they are both very creative. And so we even just found this really cool website, and they have a YouTube channel. It's like Art for Kids Hub,
Hmm.
and they do like a really cool thing that we've been following along with where the dad draws a picture right next to one of his kids drawing the same picture, and he just slowly tells you how to do it. So we've been following along. It's been so much fun, and they just
I
love
actually
that.
think I've seen that because when I had my niece over, we were looking through like kids channels, and I seem to remember a dad with a son drawing on there. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been really fun for all three of us to draw the same picture and see the
Cool.
difference.
Yeah.
And we We've done things like that every holiday, every Christmas. The three of us do the same art project, like Christmas, like a Christmas tree one year, a snowman, and then I keep them every year and date them. And then it's fun to see the difference in our projects and then also throughout the years as they grow and their skills grow. That's
Yeah.
been really fun too.
Oh, I love that so much, Kristin, because it just like reminds me too of my childhood, and I was always into crafty things. I was doing latch hook rugs and you know tons of stuff all the time, making ornaments, and I think that you're just fostering like the next generation of creatives. I mean, whether or not they go into that field, they're always going to have that, and I think it just like builds another just. I mean, it just gives them so much more, I think, depth and I don't just appreciation for everything
I
even
I
more.
agree. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree definitely. And like they have to problem solve. I'm
Mhm.
not the type of parent that just automatically solves or does something for them. So if I tell them I can't right now, I'm working, or they have something they can't quite work out and they have to work through something else, I think that's such a good skill to have, and that's a really good skill to have in crafting
Mhm.
too, and anything creative because you
Mhm.
can't just expect your first go at it to work out because
Right.
that doesn't often
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Um,
And when you are crafting, it also helps too because I have this issue of beforehand, and you probably have experienced a little bit too. Like when you're in design school, perfectionism is like the goal, and nothing under that is like
yes.
acceptable. So sewing and craft, getting back into sewing and starting quilting, like kind of helped relax to me and take away those perfection blinders and um, things can be fixed. Like I was so afraid of making a mistake, and I see other people that do that, and I'm teaching my 10-year-old niece to sew, and it's so refreshing for kids because most of them are just like they can make mistakes and they don't realize it, and then if they do, it's not the end of the world. And I think that's really helpful in crafting because even with the Legos, you can always take it apart and fix it or rebuild or go a different direction. It's not the end of the world. um,
Yes, I totally agree. And
hmm
that's such a good skill to
yeah.
have for life too.
Yes, it
But
sure
yes,
is.
I mean, pretty much everything is fixable or replaceable, and
Hmm
it's always good to have that mindset. And I've learned through my children that how I act is how they act. They're
yeah.
like a wonderful mirror of yourself.
Yeah.
And so it's also taught me a lot and to be like I'm a very high emotion person. Like I'll go straight to angry
Oh.
or straight to sad, and it's really taught me to like calibrate those
hmm
levels a little bit because otherwise they're just a mirror of me.
That's true. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I mean, I used to think that the seam ripper was like a bad thing, and now I like it's like my best friend, and I'm always like, it can always be fixed. Don't worry.
Yes. And I find it funny sometimes it's like if you're not in the mood or the mindset to sew or create, like nothing's gonna go right.
That's
I've
true.
I've gotten to that point where like, okay, I just have to walk away
Hmm
because otherwise everything's gonna keep going badly. So I think that's also something to keep in mind if you keep having issues or something keeps going wrong is maybe just take a small break. Your
hmm
mind needs rest even when you're being creative and even when like sewing is your therapy or your relaxation time, you still need rest from it too.
That's
So
so true. Yeah, you should definitely like uh look like observe and learn and just get up and walk away because otherwise there's going to be tears coming along.
yes.
We've all experienced that. We've all done it. And
Oh,
I
for
tell them if I
sure.
can just get through this part of it, then it'll be fine. But it's just like I can't get through it because I've been sewing for 4 hours already. I need to take a break.
Yes, yes. Oh, I've been there. Or
Hmm
when you have a deadline and you have to finish it, you don't have a choice. Oh, it's yeah.
Oh man. Well, that's good. I mean, this is the best part of I think just sewing and being creative and talking with another person that totally understands and gets it. So,
Yes,
it's so much
yes.
fun.
Oh, so I have a story about that.
Uh-huh.
So I went to Sewtopia when it was in Chicago.
I did too.
Yes,
We were
Yes.
there together and we didn't even
I
know it.
know. And I think we talked about this before. But I had never been to a sewing retreat. I didn't have any friends that sewed.
Me
So
neither.
I am naturally not an outgoing person. So I was terrified. And the only reason I signed up is because it was close. I could drive. I didn't have to fly by myself.
Yep.
And on the drive into the city, I was pep talking myself. I'm like, okay, you could go to the meet and greet, and if you don't like anybody or nobody talks to you, you could just go and stay in your room for the weekend and then not tell anybody. Nobody will know. But right, but after Sewtopia, it was just like a world opened up because all these strangers that talk about the same things you love, it's so easy to converse with them. I was like, I cannot believe it. I can't believe how easy it is to talk to people because we have the exact same interests. And my husband just thought it was the funniest thing after I came back because he is in business and he's an entrepreneur and he goes to like these little business conferences all the time. And I was like, why would you want to do that? All these people you don't know, you have to strike up conversations. And I got home from the Sewtopia and I'm like, I understand now. I get it. I understand when people have the same interest as you, it's
Mhm.
just like so easy to sit down. It's like fills your soul to sit down and talk with people.
It does.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
And I did know someone, and you know her too, Jen. Um,
Yes, Betty.
yes.
Jen.
Yes.
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 Hmm.
So she was there. But I ended up, I didn't see her until after I, had got to my table where I was at, so I couldn't move. But yeah, it was like that for me. It was my very first sewing retreat. I did it because it was local, just the same reason as you. And but there were like a ton of people. It was big. There were like over 80 people at that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was kind of like overwhelming to me at the same time, like you said, soul filling and freeing, and just like being amazed that it was so easy to talk to all these strangers. And I still keep in touch with some of them today, just on through social media and Instagram.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to every spring Sewtopia now. So it's funny because I met four other women at that Sewtopia, and then we all kind of reconnected the following year and are like, are you going to the next one? And we were all like, yeah, we are. And so we've actually all gone to all the spring ones together. And now we do our own little retreat, just the five of us in the fall. And it's been kind of like wonderful to find that little group of like, like your soul sisters in sewing or
I
something.
love that.
Yes,
That
it's
is
so good.
so cool.
And Sewtopia is big, but I've been to a bigger one, and
Really?
Sewtopia feels really comfortable compared to that. And then also, have you ever been to Stitch Supply in
No, I
Wisconsin?
was supposed to go. I think it was in the summertime, right? Like in a July or something. I was gonna
Oh,
go,
yes.
but for some reason I didn't go. But anyway,
Okay.
I want to go.
Yes. That is wonderful. I've done two at Stitch
Have
Supply
you?
now, and that's just like a few, I think it fits up to like 16 people, but that's a
Mm-hmm.
wonderful place. And the smaller format is really nice too, because you feel like you get to know everybody.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because I saw pictures of the place. They had a really beautiful like kitchen and great room area.
Yes. Yeah,
Cool.
it's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, so it's just like a little bit of a drive up to Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, it is. It's better than flying though.
That's
I'm not a
true.
big fan of
Me
flying.
neither. I know. Yeah. I want to do that. So when I see it popping up again, or you can let me know.
Yes, definitely.
I'll be up for that.
Awesome.
Yeah. And the only other retreat I've been to was the one I went to this past fall, which was also local, was Sarah Lawson's So
Oh
Sweetness.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
that was much more my type of retreat because Soultopia was kind of big for me, and I don't know, I just tend to like more small and intimate because I
Yes,
feel
I
like you
agree.
get a chance to really know everybody in the room and the instructor. Um,
Yes.
so, and it was wonderful. It was just the best. Just 2 days of sewing, and that retreat, because Soultopia was fun, and there were like some really I was amazed because some people like got their quilt tops done like that. and I, and I was just like, just like when you're new and you're just like trying to soak it all in and you're talking and going here and there, and of course I didn't get mine done, so
Right.
but there was a
Yes.
lot of distraction, and some people just go to those things, like Jen Betty would say, for the socializing.
Yes, exactly. I feel like
She's
if I
like, I
get
don't go
together
there to
with
get
people,
stuff done.
yeah. Right? You take
She
like
cracks
10
me up.
projects and then you get like maybe 2 done.
So yeah, I get kind of like easily distracted. But at the So Sweetness one, people were there to get these bags done, and we did, and it was fun. But it wasn't like we were heads down to our machines and not talking. It was a very good balance of, plus sewing a bag is, you can do it in a day
Yeah.
versus
Yeah.
a quilt.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so it was
So,
fun.
Sarah Lawson was the one who started the Chicago Sewing Social
No, I didn't
for
know
the
she
meetup.
started it.
Yes. She actually like talked to us at that Sewtopia Chicago. And so she did it for I think maybe a year, and then Stephanie Thomas, do you know
Yep.
her? Yeah, she kind of took it over and
That's who I thought
runs
started
it
it,
now.
Stephanie
Yeah, no,
Thomas.
Sarah Lawson, isn't
Oh,
that
how
funny?
about that? Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
It's
She
crazy
is
how
so
that comes out.
innovative. Now she's doing a book
She
club.
is.
Did you
I know.
that?
She and her like little like live
Yeah, her live
live
shows.
story. Yeah, she
Mhm.
does. I'm like, yeah, she's awesome.
She
She's doing
is.
awesome stuff.
Pretty amazing. So cool. Yeah, she was there that's the first time I ever like saw her in person, was at that Zootopia, and
Yeah.
we made her little the little key ring,
The little keychain.
keychains.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bracelet thingies. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, so that was a great retreat. But anyway, I think it's good to talk about it because people like to learn and know about those kind of things, because they're just like us, very hesitant to kind of just take that step and to go to something, especially when you don't know anybody else. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that
But do it.
you should do it. You should definitely do it, because you will love it. And you won't even know yourself because you're going to be talking so much.
I know.
You never
right?
thought you could talk so much to people you don't know.
So true.
So, you were talking about teaching your kids your crafts and stuff. And there was one other thing too I saw. I think it was last summer. Your son was doing some EPP, English paper piecing, and I thought that was so sweet. I just thought it was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. We were on vacation, and I think he was bored. With any sewing, I just kind of let them self-direct when they want to, because I've asked and asked, and then they've like, no, I don't want to do that. And then like, it's more like they see me doing a lot, and then they kind of maybe get like, they're bored or they need something to do, and they're like, oh, Mom, can I do this? So my son does sew on the machine. He doesn't do it frequently. It's just, like I said, when he asks and wants to, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So we were on vacation. I was doing EPP, and he's like, can I try it? And I'm like, okay, why not? And so, yeah, he actually took to it really well. I had him glue all the papers in, and it took him a while to get used to like the stitches, but he's getting better and better. And he really had a good time with it. Like he's done it maybe like for an hour since. But I'm sure at some point he'll ask to do it again. And hey, I mean, if he never does it again, at least he now knows how to sew with needle and thread.
And I just kind of see a little correlation with the Legos, because EPP is like putting shapes together, and you're making designs from pulling the shapes together. So I don't know. Maybe that's why he sort of.
I did tell him that too. I was like, if you practice a little bit with the hexagons, we can draw something and we can make it. It doesn't have to be this shape. We can do anything.
Oh, cool.
So I think that was kind of like, oh, that's, all right.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. So I always ask everyone what sewing machines you use.
Okay. I use, it's right next to me. It's a Janome. It's a Memory Craft 9400.
Okay.
I got it 2 years ago for Christmas. I upgraded from a Horizon 770,
Okay.
7,700. Um, and I love it. It's probably my dream machine until they come out with a better one. um, yeah, I grew up just sewing on basic machines, and in college I had one that was like the beginning of digital, where you picked digitally your
Mm-hmm.
stitches, and then that was, but it's still very basic. And Janome in college, that was the first Janome I had, and now I have like four. um, but I have a smaller travel machine, and then my old one still, and I have a Janome Serger also.
Cool.
Um, but I love the Memory Craft, and the Horizon actually has it too because they have the dual feed walking foot. And that's
Yes.
like, I love that so much. I have never had a problem with straight line quilting. I never have had a puckering issue. I actually use my walking foot for zippers.
Mm-hmm.
I used to hate putting zippers in because no matter how much I pinned when I used a zipper foot, I could not get the zipper to not shift.
Mm-hmm.
And after I tried it one day on the walking foot, for some random reason, maybe I didn't want to change my foot, and it like went through so easily. I don't even use pins on my zippers anymore. I just do it with a walking foot, and it's wonderful.
So, okay, we have to talk about this. It's dual feed walking foot because my
Yes.
machine has a dual feed lever that you pull down and it works on any of your feet, but then the walking foot is a whole different foot that goes on there. So
Yes.
is this like a combination sort of a dual
So,
feed walking foot?
yes, it has
Oh,
like kind of a smaller foot inside the bigger foot. So like it like alternates, so to speak.
cool.
So like a regular walking foot like lifts and goes.
Right.
This just holds the fabric a little bit better. So, and because it's actually part of the Janome product, it is a separate foot that comes that you have to screw on in the machine,
Uh-huh.
but it's like integrated into the machine
Right.
as opposed to a lot of machines you just buy the aftermarket walking foot too.
Right, right.
So yeah, that is, and then with the feed dogs too. So it's basically got like the two parts of the foot and then the feed dog. So it really keeps everything together,
Yeah.
and it's wonderful. They have it on the Horizon too, and once I started with that, I'm like, I'm never going to be able to go back.
That is awesome. I have not heard of that. See, this is why I love talking about sewing machines with people.
Yes.
Always learn something new. That's great. Yeah, because zippers, a lot of times I use it that double stick tape, and that seems to work okay. But I mean,
Okay.
you could just skip that. I mean, you just have
Yeah.
this like super cool foot that holds it all together.
Yes. I mean, the less steps in getting to your final project, right, the better. But yeah,
Cool.
if anybody has an opportunity to try it out or get that machine,
So
highly
it's the
recommend it.
Janome Memory Craft 9400. And
Yes.
does it come with the dual feed walking foot or is that an
Yes.
accessory?
Yeah.
It comes
It
with
comes.
it.
Yes.
Nice. All right. That'll go in the show notes along with your Etsy shop and all that other stuff. Good stuff.
Awesome.
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 That's so cool with it. Because Janome is, I've sewn on it a couple of times just at, not my machines, but at a quilt shop. We made that pillowcase charity thing and I sewed on
Okay.
a Janome there. But other than that, that's why I'm always curious to hear about people who do sew on Janomes because that's the one machine that I'm not as familiar with
Okay.
as everyone else. So that's cool. It's nice to, and I know a ton of people do sew on Janomes. Now, is
Yeah.
the memory craft just like a? Does it have like a large harp space? Is it made for
Yes.
quilting? Or is it a kind of an all embroidery or whatever? I mean, like, what is it really kind of like geared to?
It does have a large harp space. It has like 11
Oh,
inches.
nice.
So yeah, that which was a huge
Mm-hmm.
factor when I upgraded. Um, and it does have embroidery capabilities, I believe, not like crazy big things, but like smaller. I do believe there's like a hoop you can get for it for smaller
Okay.
things. Um, but I think it's more geared towards quilting. It has like several quilting feet. I usually use the darning foot that has the little spring on
Uh-huh.
it, but it has like a bunch of different quilting feet to do different types of free
Mm-hmm.
motion quilting. Um, Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's nice. And then it has maybe some of the other like decorative stitches, like your zigzags and
Yes. Oh
stuff
yeah,
like
it
that.
has so many stitches, and you can program it to like remember like if you want to like embroider like a word
Uh-huh.
like with letters, and you can program it to save that word, so you can just click one
Oh,
button or something, and then it if you
nice.
like want to label your clothes and use the same thing over and over.
Cool. All right, that's great. In my years of using sewing machines, and then at one point I did get into machine embroidery, so I got a baby lock. But now I just like I like a machine to be used for like its purpose. Like, I don't know. Sometimes all these all-in-ones kind of just have too much stuff.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, and then generally the ones that have all the embroidery bells and whistles tend to be so pricey. So you can get like a really great quality machine that doesn't have to cost like, you know, an arm and a leg. If you all you
Yes.
want to do is quilting or making clothes or home dec or bags or stuff like that. So,
Yeah, so true,
yeah,
so true. And I'm sure I don't know everything that my machine does because I don't do everything, you know. It's
right,
like
right,
you,
yeah,
yeah, you stick to what you know.
it's true. How about your serger? So you make clothes too,
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
cute clothes.
Oh, thanks. Well, it stems from not finding what I want in the
Yeah.
stores.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have my serger is a Janome, but I actually bought it at a Hancock Fabrics probably 10 to 12 years ago.
Okay.
It's still going strong. It's not the best. It just has like two stitches. But I just purely use it to finish off those
Mm-hmm.
seams on the inside of clothes. And I do all of my products in my shop, pillows, pouches, I serge all the inside of those seams. It just makes me feel a little bit better about
Sure.
selling things that they have that extra reinforcement on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, mostly I use it for clothes, and it just finishes off the seam and it cuts. I don't even know what it is exactly. It's a Janome, but and it was like just a couple $100.
Mm-hmm.
It was like to get me started in the serging world, and then
Right.
it's held up fine. So I've
Yeah. I
never
mean,
upgraded.
that's the great thing about sergers is that they're, I mean, I think always going to be mechanical. So there's
Yeah.
no like electronic fanciness because it's just like the loopers and the needles and it just does like
Yeah,
the
you
stitches.
don't need
Right.
all that digital.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're much easier to maintain, and I think it's a good thing to have in your sewing room. I mean, whether you make clothes or even quilting, because I use it a lot. Sometimes I've just started to like square up stuff like a tablecloth I made, and instead of like you know m- measuring and doing the ruler and the rotary, I just was like, hey, I'm going to have my serger cut it off as I serge it and serge
Yes,
the
yes,
edges.
that's awesome.
And so I just measured the one part where I started and figured out like, what the seam allowed, like how much was going to get cut off. And it worked great.
Okay,
I
that's
was like, that's
awesome.
so cool. Yeah, so I just encourage a lot of people to try out a serger because I know it's a lot of people are scared of those machines.
Yes, I think the threading is the
Yeah,
hardest part,
it
and
is.
even that it's fine.
Yeah, once you get
But
get it
yeah,
down, it is. It gets a little frustrating. I just remember just starting out, I was very frustrated because I had my very first one was a husky lock, I think one, but I didn't know that you needed to use tweezers. So I was
yeah.
like crying because I'm like I can't get this threaded.
Oh, yeah, that's rough, especially without
I
tweezers. I
know.
don't know how you. Yeah.
All right, so that's great. The sewing machines and well, I wanted to ask you about fabrics. What do you like to sew with, and your favorites? And some people love to sew with solids, and I know that. I mean, you can just look at your Instagram account and know that you like prints.
Yes. Yes.
So go ahead and
Yes.
talk about
I
that.
love prints. I have been getting a little bit more into solids, but I mean, I see prints and I'm like, oh, yep, I need to buy that.
Mm-hmm.
I really love like the cotton and steel substrate. Now the designers have moved to Ruby Star Society, but I love their substrate. I love one of my favorite designers ever is Denise Schmidt,
Mm.
and I love her substrate
Mm-hmm.
too. They just have a better weight to me than some, but
Mm-hmm.
Denise Schmidt, her Chickapee line is like my all-time favorite fabric line
Ooh.
ever. I have a half yard bundle that I've never cut into, and I have a half yard bundle that I've used most of. Like I just love it so much. But yeah, I like that little bit weightier
Yeah.
of a and more cottony feel
Yeah.
to a substrate. But I mean, the original cotton and steel designers, I just love
Yeah.
all of their work. It's
Mm-hmm.
just amazing. And Denise Schmidt, I love Alison Glass. I love a lot of what Dear Stella does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I buy way too much fabric. But I use it,
Yeah.
so but yeah, just good prints get me and I just can't stop.
True. Yeah. I love it. Cool. And you're not afraid to cut into it, which I love too.
No, yeah. Well, like I said, I bought a whole other bundle of chickpea just to save it. But yes, I basically when I get fabric, I organize it in my closet by rainbow order. Once I buy it, sometimes I'll keep a bundle together for a little bit, but most of the time I just break it up and put it in its rainbow order. And then when I need colors, I pull
Mm-hmm.
that way. And I do get a little bit nervous when some of my favorite prints that I go back to and go back to start to run low,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they're out of print. But I'm like, if you don't use it, you can't enjoy it. So,
That's true. So, so
yeah,
true. Yeah, I kind of do the same that you, because just even right behind me,
I do. I see.
I
Yes.
break up the bundles and I like to pull, yeah, not
Yeah.
necessarily from the same line. So that's cool.
Yeah. That's how I am totally. And I,
That's what's the fresh part of your design. See, we're figuring it out.
oh, and I have people ask me all the time how I do it because I have friends who are like, I don't know how to do that. So I'll just use a bundle. Or that's why
Mm-hmm.
so many quilters use rainbow order because
Mm-hmm.
they're worried about their fabric
Yeah.
selection. I'm like, I just feel like for me, a lot of it comes naturally, but also I have training in
Right.
school, so that makes a difference. But I'm like, hey, every color goes with every color. You just have to find the right shade of the colors
Right.
to
The
mesh well
saturation.
together.
Sure.
That's kind of what I tell people.
Yeah. Just kind of mix up the light, medium, darks of it, and
Exactly.
yeah, get that balance. I agree. That's so cool. And yay, prints.
Yes, yes.
I
Um,
know. I have a hard time. I'm starting to incorporate solids a little bit more too, but I I just like the text. If I do, I love the Robert Kaufman Essex linen and solids that
yes.
have some texture to them, or the solids that have a little something like a little cross hatch,
Okay.
like minimally there, that sort of thing.
Yes. Just to add a little
Just to add a
interest.
little, yeah, yeah.
Mm. I think it's really helped over the last couple of years that we have gotten some really beautiful solids, like the
Mm-hmm.
Essex linen and then like Tula Pink solid
Oh
line. Her
yeah.
colors were phenomenal.
Yes.
And I think that's made a difference in like me
Mm-hmm.
wanting to use more solids.
Yeah.
And I think it just also call like what the pattern calls for. Like some
Sure.
patterns you would never want to do in a solid because it would be too boring.
Right. Right. Yeah. Pretty flat. So
Yes.
cool. Um. So what else do you have going on in 2019? You've got this quilt pattern that's going to release in March. Anything else?
Well, my goal is to do some more patterns, the quilt patterns.
Cool.
And I don't have a ton. We have some outdoor projects going on at our house.
Cool.
I really would love to make some charity quilts.
Mm-hmm.
I know you can never have too many quilts, but I have gotten to the point where I'm like, do we need more quilts? I mean, yes, but I think I would love to make some charity quilts just because I never actually have.
Mm-hmm.
I've helped like collabed and made like a block or two, but
Yeah, me
I think
too.
it would just be fun to, make a few and donate because I think quilts are so like wonderful to have in your home and so comforting,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a great thing to give to people. Um,
Yeah, and I have never heard anyone say that they did not like a quilt. Like most people just gravitate and they love quilts.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it's a bad gift to anybody.
No. Yeah, you can't go wrong. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
even with teenage boys, they'll even accept the quilt.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's
And I
great.
guess like lastly, my just because my daughter is really into the American Girl
Uh-huh.
dolls, and I loved American Girl dolls growing up. We are kind of getting more into American Girl doll crafting, so we might. She really wants to do some like crafting YouTube videos, so we'll see about
Oh,
that.
that's so
But
cool.
maybe.
Yeah, because you just made the most adorable messenger bag for an American Girl doll
Yes,
with
yes.
that Alison Glass strawberry fabric. I love it.
Oh my gosh, I love that fabric, but
Me
thank you. Yeah,
too.
that was such a fun little project and so fast.
Yeah, and the American Girl doll, I mean, for girls that are, that certain age range, they can't get enough. And
Oh, it's true.
I mean, I've been to that place downtown and it's like just an emporium of
Yeah, it's a whole experience. It's
it's an
it's an amazing
experience.
place.
Yeah.
And even beyond just the American Girl brand, like diving into finding online different brands and different YouTube channels, it's like a whole world all its
It
own.
is. It
Yeah.
really is. But I think it's cool. You should put some patterns out for American Girl stuff because, you parents get wrangled into going down there at downtown at that, great emporium, and it's like a huge marketing, you know,
Yes. Oh
pull.
yeah. And you spend so much money. It's
And
yeah.
you know, they've got it all worked out. Like as you walk through the place of just like and the the kids are like, oh, and they have to have this outfit, and then you have to have this accessory and these shoes, and
Yes, yeah. I kind of have thought it would be fun to do some American Girl doll patterns. I probably wouldn't do clothes. There are a handful of
hmm
um, people who do like tons of doll clothing patterns and then also doll clothing production.
oh, okay,
But I thought it would be kind of cool to do like home stuff for dolls, like a pattern for bedding or
yeah,
pillows, because people who aren't comfortable sewing
hmm
or just have very basic skills might not be comfortable making something like that. So, yeah, we'll
cool,
see.
nice. Oh, I love it. Well, I guess that's all I've got here. I'm gonna have to have you back though, because I enjoyed talking with you so much.
Yeah, it's been fun.
And you said you had some outdoor projects, and I've got a couple of my like brewing in my mind right now too because I'm a huge YouTube watcher as well, and I've been watching these homestead channels.
Oh,
It's just so
nice.
different. We're so urban here, and especially me, like I'm like a mile like from the city, but but I just love that this one they just are like growing their vegetables. This lady grew these loofah, their squash,
Oh.
and then they dry out. I didn't even know that. I don't know why I thought loofah sponges came from the ocean.
I would have no idea where they came from.
They come from a squash. Like like it looks like a big zucchini or something, and you let them dry out, and then you just peel them, and there it is. It's like a loofah sponge,
Oh
and you
my
just slice
gosh.
them up, and you have like three sponges from one squash. I know, isn't that crazy?
I would have never known that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh my
wow.
gosh. See, I'm all over the place, but anyway.
That's awesome.
Alrighty. So I'll put everything up on the show notes, and if there's anything else that you want me to add, or if you want to say like where people can find you, go
Okay.
ahead and like
Oh, yeah.
Instagram your what,
Yeah. My Instagram is Woolly Petals, and it's WOOLLYPETALS. A lot of people forget the second L.
yeah, I do that.
Yeah, and that's pretty much my name across the board. I have a blog that's woollypetals.com. My Etsy shop is Woolly Petals. I'm pretty sure on Pinterest, Woolly Petals is tagged or Kristin Rauch. So you can pretty much find me anywhere online
Cool.
via Woolly Petals.
All right,
So
great.
that's kind of easy and
Oh, I didn't even know about your blog. All right. Gotta send people
Yeah.
over there. Where do you have the
My
time to do all this, Kristin? You've got
I blog
kids.
about twice a year, so
Oh,
don't
okay.
think that's anything. Don't think that's
That
anything.
makes me feel so much better.
I used to blog more often, but oh yeah, since kids, I Instagram is my mini blog.
I know it is. It really is. I love Instagram.
Yeah,
So that's
I do
awesome.
too.
Yay. Okay. Thank you so much, Kristin. It was such just a joy to talk with you, and I'm so glad you came on my show. I really, really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, wasn't that so much fun? I had a great time talking with Kristin, and she really is a multi-talented person, designer, creator. So definitely go check out her Etsy shop, Woolly Petals. And for the code, the 20% discount code is Make and Decorate, and I've got the link on my show notes page. So go there, click on that link. It'll bring you right to her Etsy shop. And this is a great promotion because she's got some of those really cute little like polar bear pouches that she's made, and her patterns. And her new pattern, Moonrise, is releasing tomorrow, Friday the 15th. So check it out, and that new pattern will be sized in, I believe she said baby quilt size through queen size. So take a look, and I thank you for listening, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. All right, bye until next time. Thanks for listening to the Make and Decorate podcast. You can find me at stephaniesochadesign.com. Check out the podcast blog with the show notes. My donation button is there for a one-time donation to support the podcast, or you can also support the podcast with my Amazon affiliate, and that button is just below the donation button. Talk to you next time. Bye.